Hello and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'll be showing you some more like tips and tricks, but how to make landscaping stuff like trees, bushes, and everything else basically. So it's gonna be kind of a long video. Before we start, though, I want to mention things. I will hopefully get 2 videos out this week. That's my main goal, but I have to leave for Canada this week, so there won't be a video next week, just so you guys are aware. But yeah, so let's get the video. So we'll start off with trees. There are many different types of trees and stuff. Like you can do giant oak trees, you can do palm trees, or you can do just random small stuff. So the first thing I'll show you how to do is make a simple little oak tree. So first, you're gonna want to start off with a cylinder or a tube, the same thing, and then just bow one down because it's gonna do this crap where you can't see it. Thank you, game. And then you want to just go up as much as you want. You can decide how big you want your tree to be based off of this. I'll just go with 5.375. And then pretty much to get a structure of a tree, a lot of them are shaped like a Y, so pretty much just make a Y. You can go to like 11.25 and just turn it a few times. And the key thing with trees is to have variation. So you're going to want to shrink this down on all sides by about the same equal distance, like that. And then at the same side, on the other side, you want to do the same thing, but you can make like the rotation different, like that. And then you have a Y. However, it looks kind of plain, like flat. So to avoid that, you just gotta turn this one out that way some, and move it over. And then the same thing with this one. And usually what I do with these trees, instead of making a Y, I just make basically 3. Because usually odd numbers are more appealing to the eyeballs. Yes, this is an actual thing. Odd stuff usually makes people like it more. Like for instance, you'll see a group of 2 trees, it looks kind of mid. If you have a group of 3 trees, it'll look a lot better. So with these, you're gonna want to just make another one, and then flip it towards you, like this. And boom, you have a start of a tree. And yeah. Really isn't too complicated, you just gotta keep going. And then basically from this point on, to make it as big as you want or however small you want, you would change the width of this. And on every single branch, you would add 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, as many branches as you want. And then just repeat the same process of making a group and then turning them different directions. So go like this, boom, boom, turn, bang, this one that way. Like that. So you should have something like that. And then basically from there, just keep going smaller and smaller. I would stop at about the 0.25 usually is where I would stop at. You're also going to change the length of how long you want your branches to be. You can have like short branches or long branches, whatever you want. The key is just to go randomly and see how it looks, and then if you don't like it, change it, and then it'll look a lot better. Just go with the flow. I'm also playing on a public server, so there's some lag. Ignore that. And yeah, just keep doing this for every single branch, and you'll pretty much have an entire tree done. And then for the base, sometimes you're gonna want to make like, they'll have like a root ball at the end. So what you want to do for that is just get the same thing, make it small, and then just angle it whatever distance. And then you can decide if you want to put it into the ground or not. But and then make sure you turn it very sideways like this. Make sure it's actually under the ground, like that. And then you can do that for all sides. I like to do just like 2 of them, because if you overdo it, it'll look kind of ugly. So I just do very few of them. And boom, you got some roots. Make sure they go under the ground though, like that. You got a long root. And then, boom, you have a tree kind of. I mean, I'm not gonna fill this all in because it's gonna take forever, but yeah. And then basically from there, you can decide if you want to make it a oak tree, weeping willow, or whatever else you want to make it. So to make an oak tree, pretty much just get a ball, grab it on there, and then just make it how big you want. And then again, you want variations, so like make different sizes of the balls. You can make one bigger or smaller, like that. And kind of just fill in all the gaps so you have these branches, and then it'll look pretty good. And then boom, you got like part of a tree there done. And then weeping willow, same process. However, you just tilt the thing down so the leaves point downward, and then stretch that down. Same thing for all these. And you'll kind of have like an Oaklands weeping willow. That's how theirs kind of are. They just do a simple trick too. It's not very hard. It's a neat way to figure this out too. I kind of just messed around with these and got it working. And look, weeping willow. So yeah, that's how you make a simple, like average tree you'd find around everywhere, like around the map and stuff. But however, those kind of look ugly, so we'll move on to palm trees. These are a lot more complicated because there's a lot to them. So yeah, let's get into those. So when looking at a palm tree, you will see that they have a lot of curves and like funky shapes usually. Some do loopy loops, which is very weird. But we won't do that because that's kind of a weird thing to do. So to start off, you're going to want to start off with a torus. Toruses are these guys right here. I'm going to tilt mine to facing upward. And then just make it bigger. Do 1.35. I'm going to small palm tree because small fingers are pretty cool. And then you want to do the same thing with the other one and make a tube. Or whatever else. I'm making a cylinder because cylinders are easier. And then place the cylinder down, move it inside. And then the key here is to match the same length of these. However, make it a little bit smaller, so like 1.25 is good enough. Because you want to be able to see variation in these. Variation is the most important part of making trees in this game. Because, you know. And then pretty much just go up. And then for the parts where it like turns and stuff and curves, use a cone. I found that these work best to make it look the coolest. Or you can also use a ball too, but balls make it look they're rounded a little bit. I'll show you the difference between both. Let's sit down. So yeah, so you know what to look for when you're doing these. I just screwed that up, didn't I? Breh. That works. Alright. So that right there, for instance, we'll make this smaller. And then for palm trees, you're going to want to go down by increments of the same distance, like, yeah, I think that's good enough. And yeah, just continue that. And then you want to turn, because they have lots of curves. But right here, I can show you the ball method too. You get a sphere. And you basically just replace the cone with a ball. It look a little bit worse because they just kind of curve around everywhere. But I mean, they do work. So if you don't really care about like sacrificing that, you can do that. And then pretty much just line us up to the point where they all match up in even spots. Let me move the cone quick. So if you like this more, then I would go this way. If you like the cone method more, go with that method. However, try match these up like that for the ball. And you'll get that, which looks okay. However, I like my cones more, just because cones are cones. Go up. Here we go. And then we gotta continue this till we get to the top of the tree. Basically, if you don't like how it looks, just kind of expand the portions out like this. Make it smaller, depending on how you want it. And then for the top, just go up straight. Alright, and then from there, you're going to make and then get another torus, and then put that up there. Because palm trees are like grass, they grow really weirdly. And they just have these giant, like, weird, like, curved things at the top. I'm not sure what they're called, but they just do that. And then, yeah. So there's that. And then basically from here on, we gotta add leaves. But the leaves are the hardest part of the entire thing, but they're not that hard still. First step is to just make a line. I'm still 1.5. Well, 0.5. 0.125. And make it as long as you want. I'm gonna go whatever that distance, I guess. And then go to 45. And then just turn that to about there. And then you can shrink it down as much as you want. We'll start off in the front. And then you want to match this first, let's see if I get a camera quick. So you want to match this first part right here up with the corner of this to that. And then just place. Go over one, place. Go over one, place. To as big as you want your leaf to be. Like, this is how wide you want your leaf to be. Mine's pretty wide, so we're gonna go pretty wide. And then once you do the distance you want, just kind of continue the same thing by doing this. And then this is the actual, like, stem part, so we want to do that. And then just kind of copy and paste the same thing to the other side. Boom. Then flip that over. And turn. That's not, but all else, we'll line this up quick. And I feel like giving this different variation, like changing how they're lined up, makes it look a little better. So having it a little off will actually make it look more like a tree than usual. So like that. And boom, you have your first leaf. Very simple to make, but the hardest part of the entire thing. And then you want to do the same thing, but make 3 sets of leaves. These can be different lengths, different whatever. But you want 3 variants. I'm making different length ones because they're easiest for me to do. And then if you see the little annoying like parts that aren't fully on there, you can just move your stem down a little farther. Like how they don't line up properly right here. You can just move it in farther. And then you want to make this bigger as well so that it has the stem part sticking out. Like that. I'm only going to do 2 of these because I'm too lazy to make 3. So. But then pretty much just replicate this and then move it to the top of the tree. This part is the fun part where you just get to spam leaves down. However, you want to spam it in the correct order or whatever, however you want your tree to look. This part will decide how your tree actually like looks and stuff. So with palm trees, they have they had the first leaves, they kind of curve down. So you want to do the first one, make it go down. Whoops, not that far. Down a 5 or whatever. And then we want to turn down. And then just attach. And you do this a lot now. Make sure to keep your first leaf the same one for a little bit, and then eventually we'll add variation with the other leaf. So it doesn't really matter how it looks right now, you can just make it iffy. The filling in part comes with the other leaf. But yeah, palm trees, they have the first leaves that go down, second one they go up a little higher, and then they eventually make out to the top, which are the tallest leaves, and they like stick up to the top. You also can angle your leaf petals themselves to make it look more like a real tree. I'm just too lazy to do any of that, so. And the main thing is to keep them distributed out to all the sides, so your tree isn't one-sided, because that can affect how it looks. Alright, and boom, you have all your first leaves done, and then the second one is just the same thing, but you're filling in the spots you missed, like the filler. So right here, you want to fill that in. Repeat the same process for these ones. Whoops. The issue with these trees though is they're a pain in the butt to fill in, so be warned by that. They will take a while to fill in. And again, do that for all the sides. I'm not doing that. I'm too lazy to do that. But that should look something like that. You can add more down here depending on how you like your trees. This is more like a bridge tree, so yeah. And then for the texture, I use sequoia for the bottom part, and then just regular palm tree stuff for the rest of it. So you can do king palm, you can do regular palm. Palm trees spawn over in the beach over there. They're pretty easy to find. There's one right there. Let's find a palm tree quick. Do I even have any left? I do. And you just put this down. And boom, you got palm tree. I gotta fill that in too though, but I'm not doing that. I'm too lazy to. Alright. So let's make a palm tree. Delete that now, because I don't need it anymore. Alright. And then one of the final things I'll show you how to do is make a bush. So bushes, they're very simple to make. You can make them in like 5 minutes. You just gotta put a cylinder down. Basically, there are many versions of trees. You just gotta make these down. And you just get it like a sphere. We'll just get a sphere quick and show you. Then you just kind of make it however you want. Big bush. And then, based on how big you want it or however you want it, just like add 2 or something. And then put the stem closer to the middle. Or if you're like 3, you can make it bigger. So you can go out a little farther. Towards the middle. And boom. Bush. So you can do 3 variants with just this. So you can delete this one. You can have that bush. You can delete that one. Have one single bush. Variation again. So that's how you do bushes. And pretty much that's kind of it. There really isn't much you can do with landscaping. I don't really use it much. I mean, occasionally I will with the palm trees and stuff, obviously, and bushes. But, I mean, if you want to make bushes and stuff, there you go. You just can do pottery stuff the same way. You can do a thin tube. Like this. I use pots quite often because they look pretty cool. This is like more for the interior stuff, which I can make a video about that stuff too. I can make a video how to make interior stuff too, if you want. And you just make a cylinder with whatever else. And then you're also gonna add different colors. Like you can add a line right here. You can add like a white thing right here, and then a black line there, and then just the same thing right here. And then you can go this. Let's go down. And then to add dirt in the pot, cylinder. Make sure it's actually inside the pot and not outside the pot. And then go up. Alright, and then to fill it in, go white, black. And then the dirt is obviously brown. Beige slate. And then you can get one of your bushes you made and chuck them in there. Oh look, we have a pot with that bush inside of it. Aren't you the best builder in the world now? So yeah, that's how you make simple landscaping stuff. They aren't very hard to make. They're somewhat useful. They make a build usually pop more, which, I mean, you can tell based on these awesome palm trees right here. Look how Sigma they look. But yeah, it's a nice little way to add some spice to your builds. So pretty much that's it. I'll see you in the next video. Hopefully have another video up this week. I'm not sure when. But yeah. I'll see you in like 2 weeks or whatever, whenever I get back from Canada. And yeah, see ya.